up, everyone? So, here we are, Yellow After the Rain, the Masterclass. I've had quite a few requests for this, so I'm really excited to finally bring this to you guys. So this piece, probably one of the first 4-mallet pieces that a lot of marimbas learn. I have some good takes on this, musical ideas that hopefully if you're learning this for the first time, or even if you know this solo and you want to go back and be like, I never thought of that before, hopefully I'm bringing something for players who are both just starting and those who have been in this for a while. And, one thing to remember, some of the concepts that I bring to you, especially having to do with musicality, they don't just apply to this piece, right? These are general concepts that you want to use always. So let's just start right from the beginning. The notation here is actually really important. So you'll notice that you've got groups of notes, 2 with a stem down, 2 with a stem up. So in this particular instance, the stem down and stem up helps indicate which hand is supposed to play this. I remember when I very first learned this solo, I learned it like this. And then when I got to here, I switched. Okay, so we actually want to do this. And then move everything up a pitch, like it looks in the score. And then just the left hand is left. Okay, so that's kind of the very first thing. Now, I do like to make sure that I'm really counting through this, and one tendency on this piece is to play it a bit too fast, so 126 BPM. 1 and 1 and 1 and 3. Right, so definitely make sure that you're trying to count it through, and don't take it too fast. 1 and 2 and 3 and 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 1 and 2 Okay, so now that brings us to the next section here. So this is kind of a big concept that I have in learning pieces and how I approach music, is the idea of lines being either independent or dependent. When something is dependent, it's more like happens later in the piece where we're going to have notes that happen in a row, and in order for one note to play, the other one needs to play in sequence. But this kind of section is independent motion, where we have things happening at the same time and doing different functions. So anytime that there's independent music, I recommend learning hands separately. So you should really focus on learning the right hand by itself. Okay, and getting as fluid as you can on these transitions where you have to do these large arm shifts. Now, some people say that, you know, it's okay to play to the edge. Yes, it's okay to play to the edge. My personal preference, though, is try to get to the center as much as you can. If you're a Stevens grip player, this is a little bit harder on things where you have to go like this, right? You can't really get to the center here in an effective fashion without getting over the top of the other note. So that's one advantage that some of the other grips have. But, you know, in this case, if you need to go to the edge, then I would say go for it. If you've got to do this single line, try to go up to the center, right, to get the best tone possible. I remember I was in a masterclass with Katarzyna Michka, and she said, you know, that if it was any other instrument, would an inferior tone be acceptable? The answer is no, right? If we were a pianist, well, not pianist necessarily, but like a trumpet player or a clarinet, if we were producing any tone that wasn't the absolute best quality, you know, we would be kind of frowned upon for not having good tone. But on marimba, right, we kind of make these acceptances sometimes for hitting the edge versus really going to the center and getting that best sound. So I do encourage you, whenever possible, aim for the center. Have that be your default. Then, if you have trouble because of a move or something, then the edge is acceptable, okay? But don't make the edge your default, because then you're really not getting the best tone possible. All right, so we've done right hand only. Then we want to do left hand. Now, the left hand has a lot more space in it, right? Right hand is playing consistent eighth notes. Left hand has a little more space. So what I want to see here is some lift to it, okay? I don't want to see this when the hands start lining up, where they're going down at the same time. This is independent music. Right hand is doing one thing, left hand is doing something unrelated. So get the moves to really match what each hand would be doing independently. All right, that will just help you to look so much more comfortable and relaxed as you play this piece. All right, next idea here. Once you've kind of got the notes in your hands a little bit, I would be thinking about balance, right? Balance is volume in one hand versus the other. And to even take it a step further, it could be volume in one mallet versus the other, okay? And I actually call that voicing. So balance, I do here, hand to hand. Voicing, I do in independent mallets. And there will be a moment for that a little bit later. So let's think about right hand is the melody, left hand is the accompaniment. So don't play even. Sorry. Since the melody and the accompaniment are so close in range, you really need to split them apart a little bit more to hear that difference. Okay, that helps to bring out the focus of the listener to the right hand, the melody. And then when they shift at B, right, we're going to do the opposite thing. Okay, last idea here is just kind of a general musical idea. As lines go up, you want them to crescendo just slightly. As lines come down, you want them to decrescendo just slightly. This isn't always true, but it's kind of a general concept. If you're not sure how to bring musicality to your music, that's a good place to start. So, going from A. You probably heard as I got to that third time through that little statement there that I came way up in volume. So I think this is important because the line first ascends 3 notes. Okay, then it ascends 4 notes. Then it ascends 5 notes. So it's kind of building tension each time. And then the peak of it is when you finally leave this little key center. Right? That's the point of most tension, so that should be your highest volume. Coming down, sorry. And I like to give just a little bit of tenuto on 1 and 2 and 4, okay? That way it feels like it has a little bit of shape to it and kind of take advantage of the syncopation. It's not so flat, right, like this. No, thank you. Dee-da-da-da-da-da. That's what I like much better. Okay, and then the left hand, essentially the same phrase, right? So left hand only. And then we stop. And then hands together. Notice the left hand balance this time. So kind of an intriguing thing here. If you look into the third measure of B, and then again into the fifth measure of B, on the and of 2, you'll notice that the C, middle C, is shared by both the right hand and the left hand. Okay, so if I'm taking this literally, I would play this and hit this at the same time. same time with two different mallets, because if you try that and you actually hit it at exactly the same time, the bar gets super dead. So what I do here instead is let my melody hand, the left hand, override and play that note. And then I leave it out in the mallet 3, only play a mallet 4. And then come back with the double stop for the last one. So right hand looks like this. Double stop. There. Okay, so that's a good way to avoid having that note being dead. All right, as we go on into C now, I like to set myself up here. You know, some people go like this, and what you end up with is you end up with this left hand that's super cricked in here, and then your right hand is flat. Well, you can alleviate a lot of that tension by taking your right hand and take the mallet 3 and slide down to the bottom side of the resonator. Keep your mallet 4 on the top side of the resonator, and then turn your body to this orientation. So you're going to have mallet 1, top of the resonator spot, mallet 2, edge, mallet 3, bottom of the resonator, mallet 4, top of the resonator. And you're going to keep your right hand in position here, but let your left hand flatten out as you go to here. So you notice the right hand just does a slide. It doesn't go like this and turn back, it just slides over. Okay, as you start the roll, keep this exact same shape. So when you come here, mallet 1, bottom of the resonator, mallet 2, top of the resonator, mallet 3, bottom of the resonator, mallet 4, top of the resonator. So that way your shape is exactly the same in all 3 positions, instead of doing this. Right, and then you've got all kinds of jumps here, and you hear I chipped a note as I was trying to do this arm turn. Okay, so much easier if you stay in this same shape. Okay, and then same phrase. Okay, now I'm going to play all of these pretty much from this same shape, except when they're flat, I'll go to the center, come down, down. And then I'm going to end there. Okay, so there's a lot to talk about in that next section, and I'm going to go ahead and tackle that next week in part 2 of this. Hopefully that gives you enough to get yourself going on the beginning of this, and then we'll tackle the rest of this next week. So hope you enjoyed this, and we'll see you next Sunday for Yellow After the Rain part 2.